Hello, subscribers. Welcome to Career Queries by YMC Hub. In this exclusive interview series, we bring real life professionals to answer all your queries you may have pertaining to particular field. So today we have Mr. Amogh Jain, a project manager at Maersk. He is an alumni of MBA Gurgaon and has achieved 99.7 percentile in CAT, 99 percentile in SET, and 98 percentile in NMAT. So today we are gonna throw at him some questions asked by the viewers like you related to MBA admissions and interview queries, and he's gonna share his experience on the same. So let's connect with him. Hi Amogh, welcome to the Career Queries by YMC Hub.
Thank you, Akansha.
So here is the first question asked by the viewer. The story has only begun after the results of the competitive MBA entrance examinations are released. So, according to you, what is the first thing one should do after obtaining the results?
Yes, I think there are two things that one should do after securing a good percentile, and these two things are completely polar opposite to each other. I think first thing that one should do is celebrate it because it's not an easy thing that you have achieved. It's a milestone. It's very difficult to get a good percentile in this country. There's a lot of competition, so take a moment to appreciate yourself because sometimes we're just so focused on the next thing, that we miss out on celebrating our successes. So that's more from a philosophical, general point of view. From a more practical point of view, I think when we celebrate our success, it gives us confidence for our future endeavors, because we feel confident about what all we have achieved in life. So take this moment to absorb it, and on the second aspect, which is completely polar opposite to this, is that it's time to gear up for the next round, which is even more difficult. You are competing against the best of the best now, and nothing will be the output of this if you don't clear that round, right? So that's the most important part of your preparation now, that you need to clear each and every call that you get. So get into that zone of preparation again and pull up your socks.
That's actually a good advice. Every success, no matter it's big or small, must be celebrated. But make sure it should not make you overconfident. So now, selecting the college is the most crucial thing. So other than ranking them in terms of popularity, what other factors or one should consider while making this decision?
Yes, there are many aspects one can consider while selecting their B school. Firstly, of course, is the popularity of that B school. They're probably popular because of a reason. So I'm ABC are super popular in this country, and that is for a reason. They're amongst the top for sure. So that is one. Another thing you can consider is the return on investment. So how much money you're giving as part of fees and other charges to enter this B school, and what is the return you will be getting as when you graduate from the school. What is the salary you will be having as you enter the industry. So that can also be another consideration. One more thing one can consider is the location of the B school. Sometimes that's also important for a few candidates. The quality of faculty is also a very important aspect we should consider. Some B schools are famous for one or two particular domains, so that can also help into your decision making. For example, if you are inclined towards marketing and there's a particular B school which is famous for its marketing courses, faculty, and placements, then that also contributes into your decision making. Um, Apart from that, the exchange program, a few colleges also have exchange program which are really good. That can also be one aspect we can consider. And the other opportunities that some B schools have, which probably others do not, right? So all of these factors together can contribute into your decision making. Now, I don't endorse any coaching institute or B school, even though I'm a graduate from a B school. Um, I would suggest go ahead and check out a few websites like Time, Career Launcher, IMS, whatever top coaching institutes are out there. Check out their websites in terms of the B school rankings because that will give you a fair idea of which B school is ranked where. Now, I'm not saying they are super accurate in how they rank. Every coaching institute has their own way of ranking, but it will give you a fair idea of how to go about ranking them, right? It will give you a starting point to think about, and it will give you a bit of an idea and structure. So that is one thing you can use to consider your decision making. Yep,
So here is one important term which you talked about, that is ROI, return on investment. And this is something most of the MBA students miss out on. Well, it is very important that what you are paying and what you are getting after the completion of the 2-year MBA program.
absolutely
Perfect.
right.
Okay, so now we have scores. We have shortlisted the colleges. We got lots of interview calls, and now we are finalized with the college. We have our favorites in our hand. Now, how to go about the application forms? Now, what things we have to keep in mind while filling it?
Hmm. So, in terms of MBA applications in India, they are usually pretty straightforward. They don't ask for too many details in general. They usually ask for your name and your background and your percentages. A few colleges do ask a few specific questions like why do you want to do MBA, what are your hobbies, and so on. In such cases, especially on YMBA kind of questions, I would suggest don't be too specific in your applications because by the time you reach the interview stage, when you're actually giving the interview, your answers might get more and more refined, and you don't want to get caught up into what you have written probably 2 to 3 months in advance while you were writing that application form. So that is one general tip. A few institutes also ask for an SOP. In such cases, of course, you need to draft a proper SOP and send it across, and you should prepare for it accordingly.
So now, after submitting the application forms, it's time to prepare for the interviews, right? So how to prepare for it and what parameters interviewer look for in the candidate?
There are a few broad parameters that interviewers look at while they're interviewing you for an MBA school. Firstly, is your overall personality, your communication skills, the way you carry yourself, the aura that you have, and so on, the way you think, how structured you are in your thinking, and are you able to put your point of view across? So, that is one very broad aspect they look at in general. Secondly, they also look at your academic background, right? So if you have done BTech or if you have done BCom, firstly, what was your percentage in that course? And secondly, do you still have knowledge of that? Especially if you're a fresher, you can expect a lot of questions related to your academic background. But even if you have a bit of work experience now, you might still be asked a few questions related to your academic background because you're expected to know that. And the purpose behind it is very simple. They just want to see do you really go deep into what you do? And do you still have the knowledge of that? And are you still kind of using it in some way in your life? So that is also another thing they look into. Of course, if you have work experience, they want to know exactly what you're doing, what are your achievements in that, what are your learnings over there that you can apply probably in a MBA school environment or probably in a business environment later on. So they would also look into that aspect of your profile. They would also like to know the general awareness you have about the world around you, both in terms of business news, but also general news about the country and globally. So that is another aspect they look into. For example, if you're coming from a particular city, they might ask you questions related to that city as well. The purpose behind that is to check how aware you are and also how curious you are to know about things that are in your surroundings. Of course, they will ask you general HR questions, for example, introducing yourself, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line, why do you want to do MBA, which is a very important question, your strengths and weaknesses, and so on. So you should definitely prepare for these questions because these are the most oftenly asked questions, and these are the questions you can prepare the best for. You can also be challenged on a few ethical dilemma related questions. So they might put you on the spot and ask you one or two questions related to an ethical dilemma, and they might cross question you, try to put a bit of stress on you, interrupt you while you're answering and so on. So they want to see how you handle such situations as well. And I think these are the major things they look for during an interview. The core purpose, of course, remains to see how the story fits into an MBA environment. Will you do well when you're doing your MBA? And do you really, do you really have a good reason of doing an MBA? That is the core thing they want to check, and of course, your personality, your communication skills, and so on.
According to me, the one factor is confidence, and it is both welcoming and appreciated by the interviewers. Okay, so the last question which I get from the viewers is, well, not everybody gets the good score. After all, it's a competitive exam. So, what the person should do in that scenario? Is dropping the year really bad?
It's certainly very difficult in India to get a good percentile. There's a crazy amount of competition in this country, and just because you did not get a good percentile doesn't mean you did not prepare well or that you were not serious about your preparation. So, first of all, it's not the end of the world. There are unlimited amount of opportunities out there, and just because you did not get a good percentile here does not mean you're a failure. That's completely clear that you're not a failure. You have a lot of opportunities ahead of you. Now, coming to the question, should I drop a year and prepare again? Now, you have to consider a lot of things when you make this decision, right? It should not be a rush decision. You should think about it, take your time. Uh, a lot of things you need to consider is probably firstly your financial background. Does your financial situation allow you to spend time preparing another year for this and probably leave your job or not earn for your family? So that is one thing you need to consider. Another thing you need to consider is how much effort you will be willing, you will be able to put, right? Because it's not easy to prepare again for this exam because it's very taxing. It can take a toll on, your strength, your ability to handle the situation, right? So that's another thing you need to consider. Also, you need to be very honest with yourself and assess exactly where did you go wrong in this year's preparation. Because only when you know exactly where you went wrong is when you can think about, can I make this right in one more year's preparation? So that is one thing you need to be really, really honest with yourself about and think clearly, will preparing for this one more year, will it make a difference or not? All these factors you need to consider. You also need to consider dropping a year probably means you will stay at home or you will not be basically engaging in something like working for a company or something like going for another course or something like that. So you'll basically be cut off in a way from society in a way, right? So you also need to consider how that will impact you because it's not easy sitting at home preparing for one year. It can be a bit stressful as well. So all of these things combined should contribute in your decision making, and it should not be a emotionally charged rush decision, but a very logical thought about decision that you should take. And at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Okay, it's just one more exam, and there are a lot of things you can do. So always stay positive.
Fantastic. So, being positive is a very important thing, and it's a powerful strength that comes from inside, and it can add fuel to your ambition. Thank you so much, Amogh. And the most important thing about this session, and yes, this offer is for all the viewers who are watching this video. Now you can avail the free mock interview session with him and our team. So if you are preparing for the interviews and you are B school experienced, then the number is flashing on the screen. Call on this number and book the slot. So avail the services and get selected. So thank you so much. Keep learning, keep growing, and remain exclusive, remain distinguished. Thank you so much.